be racist, remember, because you're not white.
I'm Asian.
Oh, yeah.
I'm immune to racism.
Wow. Seems to be what they say nowadays. But wait, what's the topic again?
Yeah. So we are doing. I forgot.
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's.
getting through
Let
the
me
hard
see.
times.
Oh, getting to
That's
the
what it
hard
is.
times. Yeah,
Yeah, it's getting
that's
through
the
the hard.
topic.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. All right. Well, welcome back, guys. I think this is episode like 32 or something. But today we
Yeah,
are
it's
talking
32.
about
Thirty-two.
getting through the hard times. So we're talking about like
Why'd you
we'll
pause
share
after
some.
every single word there, dude?
Well, I was trying to add suspense. Okay, but we will be talking about different points such as maybe you know what you need to do, you're just not doing it for trying to accomplish your goals. We often talk about like there are moments where you might be like sitting and like watching TV or something and you know of like what you should be doing but you're not. We'll be talking about times like all this corona stuff that's happening and like just really cut off people's schedules. And so Kevin, like what tips would you start out to give people with all of this?
Dude, honestly, I didn't register like half of what you said. Yeah, no, but like totally get it. Yeah, like especially right now, like hard times are pretty much guaranteed because of what's happening, and and like I think one of the biggest mindset hacks to get through currently right now is to really think of the big picture. Like you got to think about life as a whole, right? Like like life is always going to be plagued with difficulties, and no one gets out of life unscathed. And so just keep that in mind and just realize that hey, right now is just one time in my entire life, like a single time, um, that I'm going to be encountering difficulties, but you should come out with the mindset of hey, after I get through this difficult time, the difficult times ahead are going to be much easier for me to get through because you've gone through such a difficult time. And like especially coronavirus, this is like an event that like happens like once in someone's life. This is like a once in a lifetime event. And so if you can get through this, you can get through anything after your life. So just keep that in mind. I think always thinking of that bigger picture. And I really don't think that you should be focused on getting around the hard times, but like rather finding how you can grow through them, right?
Hmm.
Trying to find like how you can innovate, how you can get better. Because I think like challenges like bring how do you say this? I feel like difficult times definitely do bring out the better people. Like if you truly have what it takes, I think you will come out ahead of everyone else in a difficult time.
Hmm. I agree. And it's just like, you shouldn't, as you were saying, it's like, don't focus so much on like the negative aspects of things. There are always going to be negative aspects of anything in life. And again, it's like, look at the full picture of life. Like maybe you fail out of college and it's like, good. You know what? You have more time to do other stuff. You can like actually grind on stuff that you want to grind on instead of wasting your time on school. And so like, actually, I was listening to a speech this morning. I don't remember who the guy was, but he was talking about how he would always say good to literally anything that had happened. So if it was a negative, like some kind of negative event that had happened, maybe in, like in his work or whatever, he would say good every single time. And so like it got to the point where his coworkers would just be like, I'm not even going to tell you stuff because I know you're just going to say good. Because it's like he was always looking at, the positive of what's going to come out of that. Like, this corona stuff, like maybe you get fired and it's like, good, you have more opportunity and time to learn something new or more time to spend with family. And it's like there's always something good that comes out of every negative event. So like I think focusing on those, um
And
and then just like focusing on what you can.
even if there isn't, I think it's always better to look at things on a positive light than negative light. Especially like when it comes to
Mhm.
people, like you look at really negative people, you look at all these um, just bad people in general. Like you can look at any felon or any criminal, and and like a lot of people only see the bad things about them. But in reality, there's so much more. I think a lot of people they look at people who've committed crimes or have problems, and they don't care like what actually made them that way. And like there's always a backstory. And like it doesn't just happen that way unless like we're talking about psychopaths. And you don't look at
Hmm.
people who are doing like unethical behaviors, like stealing or scamming, and like think that's just who they are. Like no, that's a byproduct of who they. That's a byproduct of their past. And so applying that same principle to just life in general, just looking at everything in a positive light, I think will help you a lot. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I think as you mentioned, it's like everyone's an individual. So it's like don't look at people as like a whole group. And like don't hold other people accountable to like let's say somebody's in a family and the whole family doesn't like you, but like the one person does. And it's like it's okay to like trust them and like 'cause they are an individual and they don't necessarily want to harm you like the whole rest of the family might. And that can, you might have times where you're like going through bad relationships, like a breakup or whatever. And it's like, you know, don't, I think it makes no sense to me if, if life is like beating you down, life is throwing bad stuff at you. Why would you push yourself down farther? It's like, try to do something to help yourself. It's like Will Smith says, he's like, if life is beating you down, like, why would you kick yourself in the balls? It's like, like, try to do something to help yourself. Don't get so focused on the negative because then you're just hurting yourself. And so it's like that makes no sense. And so like no matter what you have to do to get there, and it's like if you're going through a breakup, it's like you use that as motivation. Like I talk about this sometimes. Like one of the big things that got me started on my path was like a really bad breakup. And I'll admit, like the beginning thing that got me ultra motivated was just wanting to rub it in her face of how successful I was. And so like, obviously it's not really good motivation, but like, as we said in a previous
There's no such thing as good or
episode,
bad
yeah,
motivation as long as it gets
yeah,
it going. Because
exactly. And
motivations always
it's like
change.
yeah, and it's like I think as long as you get started and you take the action, it doesn't really matter what gets you taking the action because like now I look back to that and I'm just like that was terrible. Like I don't care about like rubbing in people's faces anymore. And so like I think it can get you started. Like find some way to get yourself started and taking action after something. It's like if you're angry at someone, use that anger to take the action, and that'll help you build the discipline and the habits, which will actually keep you sustained for a long period of time.
Yeah, I think another important thing is just knowing that um, that you will be fine during any tough time is like it's not enough. Like that's the first step, and that'll get you like 50, not 50, say like 75% of the way there, right? The extra 25%, like you have to actually take action. You actually have to do things because you can live in this you can like do mental masturbation and just keep thinking about how to get through this tough time without doing anything. But if you do that, you're literally not going to get through your difficulties at all. And so that extra
Mhm.
25%, you actually have to take action. You have to. I think the important thing is you just have to be realistic. Be hopeful, but not expecting, because when you start expecting these huge results, like if you start expecting that, hey, after this tough time, after this difficulty, after this challenge, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be like a fucking billionaire or some shit, or like just like an unrealistic goal. And I think that when people start expecting like that, they get disappointed, and it's very hard to be hopeful without expectation. And so that's where being realistic comes in. You have to be realistic. Hey, like just know that, hey, I want to improve this amount, and I think it's possible, and I think it's realistic. And set that goal for yourself, and keep that in mind as you navigate through your difficulties.
So I think you should, at least when it comes to goals, you should choose like unrealistic things, but you should never feel like you're expecting them. Because like I do think this whole saying of like shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you land among the stars. So it's like shoot for something that's big. Like I openly say it, like I want to be one of the greatest Gen Zs to ever live. Even if I never get there, I'm still gonna have made it so far up that it's like I'm still gonna be living a life that's just like unimaginable to what I ever thought I could have accomplished when I was younger. And so it's like, shoot for stuff that's unrealistic, but don't expect that you're gonna get there. Because there's a saying that goes like, the wolf climbing the hill is or the wolf on top of the hill is never as hungry as the wolf that's climbing the hill. And so it's like always be the wolf climbing the hill. Because like if you get to the point where, I've done this a little bit of like, you can tell with someone's mindset if they're going to be pretty successful or not. But there's a big difference between pretty successful and like world changing. And I want to be a world changer. And so if I get into the mindset of I'm going to be successful, I know that, so it's fine. I don't have to work all my time today. Then like I'll eventually over time kill myself with so much lack of time that I spend on things that it'll honestly put me back to where I won't achieve what I wanted to achieve. And so like, don't expect that you are going to get anything. It's like have high goals, but always work towards them. It's like if you have a big goal, you've got to put the work in for it, and never expect that, oh, I'm gonna get this and it's gonna be fine, because that'll make you stop working because you'll feel like you already have it.
Yeah, I was thinking in terms of procrastination, and I think I was, yeah. So I think the stuff I said before, that was more geared towards people who I feel aren't on the path yet and aren't
Yeah.
as improved on themselves. And so when you're just starting out, I think it's very important to not set like super high goals or super high expectations. It's just like school, right? Like if you're a 2.0 GPA student and you want to get to 4.0, you don't set the goal of, hey, this semester I'm gonna get all A's, I'm gonna get a 4.0. You don't set that goal. You set the goal of, hey, I'm a 2.0 student. I think a realistic goal is, hey, I'm gonna shoot for a 2.3 this semester, and I think the great thing is when you set that goal of 2.3, oftentimes what happens is by the end of the semester you'll get an even higher GPA. Like you set a goal of 2.3, but you might get a 2.7, and so you pretty much you get more than what you expected. And I think the beauty of that is if you do this compounded over time, I think you'll get like a lot more unexpected results. When in reality, like it's should be expected based on like what you put in. If that makes sense. I
Yeah,
don't think it makes sense, but
I still think personally, at least, that you should always try to shoot for something big because, like, in school, we're taught that you should be realistic with all of your goals. And so people choose everything realistic. And so you have very few people in society who actually try big things and like go out and be unrealistic with their goals. And those are the people that end up actually changing the world. Like, if you just tell yourself, oh, I'm just going to be a doctor, I'm not going to try for anything else, then like you might get a doctor, you might get a little bit better than that, but you're never going to be a world changer. But if you're like, I'm going to cure cancer, I'm going to spend all of my time trying to figure out how to do that. You might not actually get
no,
there,
that's
but
not what I'm saying. I'm saying you
you'll
can't.
get way higher.
That's not what I'm saying, dude. It's like what Jordan Peterson says. Like you can't change the world if you can't even make your own bed. If you get what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
You can't do fucking anything world changing if you can't even get from a 2.0 to 4.0.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you
I
can't even
agree.
build a foundation first. You got to build a foundation
Yes,
first.
yeah,
I'm
but I
talking more
think
towards people who haven't built that foundation. Because because if you haven't built that foundation, you should really be working towards building it, setting realistic
mhm.
goals for yourself first, and then after you reach a certain point where you know, like, hey, I think it's time to take it up to the next level and set like a not an unrealistic goal, but a goal you think is worth striving for.
Yeah, I think it's just important to have something that's like, I can wake up every day and be like, this is gonna be awesome when I achieve this. And so like you're actually like waking up, ultra motivated to go out and actually achieve that. If I ever watch a movie that has like rich people in it, I'm always just like, fuck yeah, I want that lifestyle. I'm just like, screw the movie. And so it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
you remind yourself of the amazing life that you could have if you really do achieve what you want to achieve. I think that's why it's important, at least overall in your life, to shoot for something big. Like maybe if you take small steps, yes, but like I think your end goal in life should be something that's big, if that's the kind of person you are, at least. But I do think
Yeah,
that'll help you.
I think you also need the mental fortitude when you have big goals, because I think a lot of times what happens cannot talk. I think a lot of the times what happens is a lot of people they set these really huge goals, they're just really big goals, and they feel motivated every day when they're in the process of achieving their goal. And then once they actually do reach the end, if they fail, I think one of the biggest pitfalls is they just fall into depression. Like they just feel ultra depressed that they set this huge goal and they fail to achieve it. And I think that you have to be aware of that. You have to ask yourself, do you have the mental fortitude to know that when you do fail, So if you do set this goal and you think it's worth striving for, and if you're okay with failing, and if you're okay with um, the thought of knowing that you're going to fail, like I think you should go through with it. If you're not okay with, hey, if I'm going to fail this, like I can't take it, I think it's mental
Mhm.
first.
I also think though that like, any I think the first time you fail is always going to be bad. So like I think if you are the kind of person who like you are afraid of like not achieving what you want to achieve, you probably just haven't failed enough times yet. But like along the way of trying to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, you'll probably fail enough times that by the end, even if you don't get there, you're like, this was an amazing run. You know, like I have a friend who's just went out of business pretty recently, and it's like, you know, you've just got to move on. It's like you're gonna have hard times, but like you've got to move on and start the next thing, or just keep moving your life forward because that's not the end of your life. It's like if you don't accomplish it's not about accomplishing the goals. It's about improving yourself, improving people's lives around you. And so like you can never do that if you're not striving for something. It's like Jordan Peterson also says, he's like, you're never going to be a great person if you're weak. Like the greatest people that he knows in society are all monsters, but they can control the monster inside them. And so like that's something that I've been trying to work on personally, is like becoming a little bit more of a monster but controlling it. And it's like because a weak man will never be a great leader. And so you have to be strong and you have to be able to make hard decisions and like be under pressure. And I think a lot of that's just going to come from just putting yourself in those situations and doing. It's not going to come from like reading how do you become a leader or like talking to people. It's going to come from like actually taking action on that and like failing and stuff. So I think, there are going to be a lot of times where you're not going to feel like doing whatever you need to do. And, I always say you always know what you need to do, it's just whether or not you do it. And so it's like you've
Mhm.
got to use discipline and build habits to actually take the action. It's like even if you're starting small with the habits of like, I want to get a big following online. So like spend like 30 minutes a day on like LinkedIn or something, going around commenting on people's stuff and building relationships, and then like build it up to longer if you want, build it up to like 3 hours or something. And it's like, utilize habits. Humans use habits, and then don't miss those days unless you schedule them.
Dude, you're totally right. Yeah. Totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think people don't get confident through success; they get confident through failure. And
Exactly.
people get confident through understanding how they actually failed, and pretty much using that knowledge to improve their attempts next time. Um, so yeah,
Hmm.
totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's like, this is one of the big things that I hate on with the school system is like we don't let kids fail enough. And it's like, if you would force kids to fail throughout all of their education, like you'd have a ton of people coming into society who were like, where's my next failure? Like I'm gonna go fail
Definitely.
at something. And it's like, I think that would just benefit humanity as a whole. But it's like, you're not, again, it's like if you're in a dark place or something, it's like you're never going to get out of it until you make the effort to get out of it. If you're depressed, you're never going to stop being depressed until you make the effort to get out of it. Like if you constantly tell yourself, I'm depressed 24/7, then I don't know how you ever expect to get out of it. And it's like, go talk to people, find help, like take the
Yeah,
action to
yeah.
like
You're never
find
gonna get out of
purpose.
any ruts or any challenge without making that mental shift first.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always mental first, and then the physical. The physical,
Yeah. It's,
the action.
it's really it's really funny because like achieving success, at least on society's level of success, like money and whatever, it's like achieving that is like super hard to get, number one. And then number two, it's like you're not like the likelihood of you getting it if you're working relatively hard towards it is super low anyway. And so like the likelihood of you achieving that accidentally is like astronomical. And so it's like, people will never become successful unless they're trying to become successful. And so it's like, if you aren't trying and like putting in the work and taking the action, the likelihood of you actually getting there is like super low. Like I'm not going to
Also,
just
just
become one of
yeah,
the greatest Gen Zs on accident. Like,
yeah. Also, just be. I think be aware that everyone who is not everyone, but I think a lot of successful people today, they didn't get there through some overnight success. They didn't
exactly.
get there overnight. They got there through a lot of hard work that you never saw, that no one ever
Hmm.
saw. Um, like them coding and like fucking 1 a.m. in the morning on like a weekend when they could be partying, or Friday night when they could be partying. And just being aware of that when you're in hard times, and knowing, hey, there's like millions of other people going through the exact same situation as me who are also striving towards a worthwhile goal, and I'm not going to be the first to jump out. I'm going to stick through, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna get through this challenge. I'm gonna improve myself, and I'm gonna make a difference.
Yeah, it's really
Keep telling yourself
funny
these
because
affirming thoughts. I think affirming thoughts really do help.
yeah, and I think using like your sense of competition, we're naturally, we're genetically wired to be competitive because everybody wants to be the alpha in the room. Like this is genetic fact. And so it's
Nah,
like,
some guys are beta.
well, yeah, and it's just like you want to be alpha, but it's like to minimize the hurt, you like choose to be beta, which I'll never understand. But it's like,
Dude,
like
imagine
we
seeing
all
an alpha girl.
secretly that's what I'm
Dude,
talking
that'd be
about, dude.
scary. That'd
I
be
swear.
scary.
I
I
swear
can't.
the
I can't
first time
imagine
I
that.
find it or first time I find an alpha girl, I'm gonna be like, holy crap. But it
I don't
is
think an
so hard, honestly.
alpha girl, alpha guy together. Oof, not a good combination.
I don't know. I'm gonna find out though.
You guys wouldn't
But
play.
no.
I swear to God.
I don't know. We'll see. But it's just funny because it's like it's like use competition. Like I remember something that would always help me in high school was like the realization of no matter how hard you work, there's always somebody out there who's probably working harder than you are. And it's like there's probably somebody out there sleeping less than you or working more hours, who's more focused, and it's like you've got to catch up to them. Or it's like even compete with yourself in 10 years is also something I do. It's like if anyone asks me like, who's my hero? Who do I look up to? Or who do I want to be like? It's always going to be me in 10 years. That's what my response is going to be all the time. And it's like, cause I want to be like me. I don't care about being like
You
anyone
know what I
else, but
say?
it's like,
I say you want to be better than you are when you are at the peak.
yes,
You know what I'm
I love
saying?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, that's what you should strive for. And it's like, so you always have somebody that you're never going to catch that you're trying to catch. And it's like, focus on who you could be. Like, I think that's so powerful. It's like, you never know the kind of person that you could be. Imagine, maybe this isn't your goal, but like, imagine being the president of like the United States or something. Like the level of success that takes. That's like, literally one of the most successful positions in the world. And so it's like, imagine working and getting to that level. And it's like, obviously you might not be interested in politics, but like imagine who you could be. It's like, I could do that. And so it's just like, if that doesn't inspire you looking at who you could be and the things that you could do, then like, I don't know what will. Because it's just like there's so many things that are possible, and I'll never understand why people say that things are impossible when like humans don't even know it's possible. Like we always thought that science fiction was
They just say
impossible,
it's not
but
they think it's impossible. It's they don't want to put the work in to make it possible.
exactly,
Right? Because
yeah,
people say,
it's like it's
being a billionaire is impossible. It's not impossible. There's like how many billionaires? Like thousands,
there's
hundreds
like
of them?
2000, I think.
Yeah, there's like
I think
2,000
there's
billionaires in the
2000.
world, dude. There's 2,000 people who have done it before you have, and you're
Mm-hmm.
telling us that it's impossible. It's not
Yeah,
impossible. You just don't want to put in the work,
exactly.
and you don't want to, and you don't
Yeah,
want
and
to
it's just
strive. You don't
like,
want to at least try.
mm-hmm.
Like even if you
Yeah,
fail,
and
like
it's like
you could at least be a millionaire.
yeah, well, that's the
100
point.
millionaires,
It's
exactly,
like
right? You could
even if
strive to be a billionaire, but you
strive
can,
for being
yeah.
yeah, strive for being a billionaire, and if you miss, you're still worth like 200 million, and like that's still pretty good. So it's just like you should shoot for things that are gigantic. Like, why would you want to live paycheck to paycheck? But it's like you're choosing to. Like, if you live paycheck to paycheck for your whole life, that is your choice. If you live like that for a few years, you can still get out of it. But it's just like if you die poor, that is 100% a choice. Like, especially with the kind of opportunity that we have nowadays, like even if you have to move countries, it's like there's so much opportunity out there and people just don't use it. With all this COVID stuff, look at all these people that are complaining while there are others out there who are making drive-in movie theaters or like all these
Really?
other things that you can make. Well,
What?
I always talk about
Drive-in
that.
movie
I'm pretty sure I
theaters?
heard about it. Well, like because like it would
It's
make so much sense,
insane.
because people have to social distance. So if you keep them in their cars, you just like use a projector and put a movie on the side of the
Wait, this is like
like a
19,
school building.
19 fucking 80 shit, dude. Like where people
Yeah,
just
but
drive
like
their
it's
cars
it's
into a movie
genius.
theater.
I literally kept talking about this. I really wanted to do it, but I don't even know if there'd be many people in my town since it's so small that would actually do it. But it's like, there's so many ways to make money, and it's just like there's so much money out there and it's not that hard to get. You just have to provide value to people. It's like that's all that money is.
Yes, it's an exchange of value. You provide something
Mhm.
valuable to the customer, and the value they provide to you is their loyalty and their money. Mullah,
Exactly.
mullah, mullah.
But that's just like the funny thing is, if you're poor, you just haven't provided a lot of value to other people. And it's like, your skills are a form of value. And like those, people pay high amounts for programmers, because it's a niche. Build up skills. With the internet that you have, you can teach yourself literally almost anything. And it's funny because people always hate on the grind, but if you truly get into the grind and you love what you do, it's honestly so fun. And like
Dude, let me just say something. Let me just
I've
say
noticed,
something, dude.
like,
Let me just
go
interrupt
for
you,
it.
bro. Like, so there's a saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's so funny because it's just like, the grind is actually really fun once you get into it. And like once your mind kind of develops in that mindset, because like you love what you're doing. And so you just do it over and over and over and over again. And I've reached a point where if I'm not grinding, there's a tiny bit of guilt, but there's also just like a yearning to, I want to go and grind. It's like, I don't really want to do other stuff. And so you kind of you get to the point where you just want to do that all the time. And it's completely voluntary. It's not like you have to do that all the time. I think people that give up super early.
Well, that's great. Andrew just cut off, and we're gonna stand here and wait for him. Yeah, I'll just wait for him to come back. Yo, dude, you
Yeah, I
back?
hear you. Yeah,
You
I
hear me?
heard you. I heard you, but you couldn't hear me.
Okay, that's funny.
Goodness.
Okay.
I swear this isn't
Um,
my Wi-Fi.
yeah, let me share some of my thoughts. I think I think a lot of people who are successful, like they're not necessarily better than me or anyone before them. I think it's just that they're doing what it is they're doing. They're and like whereas the average person is like just sitting at home watching Netflix or watching YouTube,
Yeah.
like taking no
Well,
action.
that's
So really,
yes.
I think action is the difference. Really, action
It
is
really
the
is.
fundamental difference because you can do mental masturbation on how successful you want to be in the future, all this stuff, but without any action, not going to get anywhere.
Exactly. It's like this is exactly the reason I always diss on books. It's like, books are great if you want to learn something specific, but like, these people that read like 200 books a year and they brag about it, I'm just like, while you're wasting like hundreds of hours reading, I am spending hundreds of hours taking action. So who's going to really get farther? So you can spend all your time reading about how to code, but if you don't actually stand and code, it makes no difference.
Dude,
And so it's like,
analysis paralysis.
what?
Analysis paralysis. You get it?
What is nope?
Analysis paralysis. Like they can spend all their time reading books, researching how to be a better person or get better at whatever they're doing. But I think that paralyzes them from taking the action, from
It
doing what it is
does.
they need to be doing in order to get better. Analysis
Hmm.
paralysis.
Yeah, I love it. But it's just so true. And it's like, guys, the only thing that freaking matters is the action that you're taking. It's like the books you read, that doesn't matter. It's like the stuff that you learn and don't apply doesn't matter. You can learn every instrument out there, but if you don't apply it or hold concerts or anything, then it makes no difference. So it's like, take action on stuff and provide value. Like do stuff to provide value to others because that's how you're going to get the monetary success that you want.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely. I mean, I have nothing else to say.
I'm
I think
good
we
too.
covered some pretty good points today. That was pretty good.
Was pretty
And
good.
I came up with so many good one-liners. Analysis paralysis, baby. Let's
Wow.
go.
Yeah, you weren't like half asleep today. Did you have
No,
coffee this morning?
I slept 8.5 hours yesterday. I feel super awake.
Wow.
It's actually
Wait,
funny.
did you get
Actually,
up like right before this again?
I got up at like 6:45 and then I fucking fell asleep. And then I woke up at 7:30. It's funny.
Wow.
Like when I sleep more, I feel more tired. Like my body feels more tired, but my brain is like more awake. You know what I'm saying?
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know. It's kind of, I almost think I'm addicted slightly to nights with little sleep. It's kind of weird. But like if I get nights without like a lot of sleep, I feel happier. I think it's because I know that I'm working harder then. And so like I'm kind of addicted to that, which is kind of weird, but whatever.
No,
I don't know.
yeah, no, I feel like working when I could at night. It's just like it's a very strange feeling. It's like you're strangely more focused or something. You're like
It
more
is
in
weird.
tune with what you're doing.
Yeah, honestly, I've almost considered switching my schedule, like since it's summer, to just be like wake up at like, 10 p.m. and just like that's your day, and you just like sleep during the day. It's like kind of like a
Whoa,
vampire.
then, dude, our podcast is gonna be fucked, bro. Can't do me like that.
No, no, but I don't know. I feel like I'd get so much more done if I did that because like it's always at the extremes. It's like really early morning or really late night that I do the best, and so I don't know why that is,
Yeah,
but maybe it's because there are like lack of distractions or something, and I don't know. It's almost like
probably.
half of
Also,
your brain
circadian
sleeps, but
rhythms. Yeah.
yes, yeah, but maybe it's like half your brain sleeps, and that's the half that like distracts you or something. I don't even know.
Yep. Yeah. I don't even fucking know. Oh
But
yeah, we're gonna end this episode. Yeah, so getting through the tough times. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, just don't just listen to this and not do anything. I swear to God.
yeah,
I fucking know
do
if you're not
shit.
doing anything. Like if you don't do anything
Yeah.
after watching
We
this, like I will fucking know. I am omnipotent.
You mean omniscient?
Oh, omniscient. Wait,
Well,
what is omnipotent?
I'm not even sure if that's a word.
I'm pretty sure it's a
Omniscient
word.
means all-knowing, but I don't even know. I remember that from like literature class. These are
Whatever.
like first
Omnipotent
person,
sounds like
second
all
person,
knowing.
and
So yeah, so I am omnipotent and yeah, I will know if you're not taking action. So
we will
you
come
better
visit you
take
in your
action.
sleep.
Yes, don't yeah,
Yeah,
so
take action.
don't watch another episode after watching this episode for another week.
Yeah.
Do take some action. Don't just fucking
Yes.
don't be the person who consumes more than they actually take action on because I think especially in this culture we have so many people that are just consuming more than they're actually doing and I think it's causing a lot of depression, causing a lot of problems for people. So don't be that person. Also, if you like this episode, make sure to give us a review. Also, check us out on YouTube because we have a YouTube channel where we post
See our
these
videos,
videos.
y'all.
Yes, see our pretty fucking faces. And you can see my hair growing. My hair actually went from super long to super short, and now it's sort of medium
Wow.
size. So you can see that.
You
Yeah,
can see
just
mine
also
just like falling on my
yes,
face.
yeah. Also, just check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We're pretty much on everywhere. Yeah. See you guys next time. Peace out.
See you, peeps.